I'm Russ Milheim from the Direct. Thank you for talking to me today about Moon Girl.
For sure. Thanks for, yeah, talking
Of
to me about the show.
of course, I'm a big fan. I've said this before, but I was actually never been the biggest Moon Girl fan, so it took a long time for me to watch the show. But then when I did, I
Mm.
was kind of blown away by how good it was.
Oh, thanks. No, I was gonna say I feel like I'm constantly like because it's animation, like every time I watch more of it, I'm constantly like surprised at how they take it to the next level. And
Yeah, it is quite something. And the show has a lot of great messages within its first two seasons. So I wanted to ask you, which did you find yourself relating to the most?
it's interesting. Well, on a more personal level, like I think that I really love the depiction of the female friendship, and like I think that, and like how to sort of navigate the sort of like ups and downs of, especially when like, yeah, at that age, friendships are intense and like very filled with emotion. And I think it's the sort of the first time that you're like confronted with, having your own needs in a relationship and your own like, and like things and butting heads and like learning how to like communicate in a healthy way to like get through conflict. And I just rewatched as the season came out. I just rewatched the Belly of the Beast episode that where Casey and Lunella get into a fight and then wind up in Devil's stomach. And I was like, it had been so long since we recorded it, and I was so sort of taken aback by how beautifully they handled that, and what a great example that sets for like young girls watching.
I wanted to ask, what's your favorite episode to date? Would that be one of the contenders?
I think so, yeah. That and I think in this season, yeah, and in the last season, I loved my bat mitzvah episode. I that's always that'll forever have a special place in my heart.
Yeah. And you also this season you got to sing a new song. So what was it like recording that?
It was, I mean, it's so fun. It was so fun. And I had forgotten that they were putting us in the actual like mix tape part of it. And watching it, I was like, it made my heart sore. I like, but recording it was so fun. It's like such a wonderful supportive environment. And like, I, I used to sing and I haven't been doing it as like, I didn't, it wasn't like the path that I took, but like getting to do that in this setting was like very, very special. And yeah.
Now compared to season one, what would you say makes season two uh different or more unique?
I think everything is just taken to the next level, and in every sense of things. Like they go to new places, the stories get deeper, and there's more like uh there's more of like a through line through the whole thing, that I think is like it's really interesting. Like I feel like you don't see a lot of cartoons that are sort of structured that way, and we get deeper, we go to new places. Everything is just taken to the next level.
Yeah. Now I spoke to Diamond White the other week, and she mentioned how you two were able to record together before in person. Can you talk about that process and compared to recording, by yourself?
Yeah, oh my God, it makes such a difference. It's so fun to play with Diamond in the booth. And it's funny because we started recording, the show got picked up in 2020 in the depths of the lockdown. And so like we were recording from our respective they like sent us equipment, and I like converted my closet into a recording studio, but we would Zoom and we would be on opposite. I was in New York, she was in LA, and even though we were on opposite sides of the country, like just getting to play together via Zoom just felt like we were in the same, like we were next to each other, and it was so special. And I think you just find so much more like so much life and little. Also the creators encourage us to like ad lib and find stuff and play. And I think that a lot of the magic that you see between Casey and Lunella comes from that very real live rapport that Diamond and I have when we record together.
For you, what would you say is the most unique challenge that this show presents you as an actor compared to your previous work?
Um, it's interesting because I think vo animation has its own is so its own thing. And it's like a it's like a total playground. I think you get I like I love being in the booth, and I guess, yeah, it's challenging because you don't know what things are going to look like. You don't know what, the other actors are going to be doing for the most part, unless you're like lucky enough to get to record together like Diamond and I have been. But, the other characters we interact with, we don't know what their reads are going to be like. Um, but it's really cool though, and what's so exciting about it is that like we get to lay the groundwork for for what the animators will like build on top of it. We get to like we're just like in our little boxes pretending that we're like bouncing around the streets of New York with a dinosaur, when really we're in these little boxes.
You're telling me you're not actually with a dinosaur?
We're not actually with a dinosaur, which is
It's all
really, I'm
ruined.
sorry to break it to you. I know. I
uh
hope I didn't ruin the show for you.
I'm sure I'll find a way to appreciate it. What would you say is to date, within these first two seasons, what has been the hardest scene for you to record?
Hmm. I don't know if I don't know if I would say that anything has been particularly hard. It's all just so it's all just so fun. Like even like the I think that that's a good question. I think that maybe some of the like fight stuff can be challenging because we don't know like or like bleh, the physical actiony stuff, because there is a lot of sort of guessing what's happening and a lot of like, when it's not dialogue and it's like grunty sound, like, you know falling sounds and stuff like that, that can be a challenge. But I guess like, I don't know, it's all truly just like little kid make believe and like getting to play, and like the stories are so beautiful, and uh yeah, the writing is so beautiful, and I know that we're in such good hands that it's all just like fun and play, and yeah.
Now, Lunella is a superhero herself. So if Casey were to become one, what would her code name be?
Whoa, that's a good one. What would her name be? I feel like it would be something. I don't know. I feel like in a lot of ways, Casey is a sort of superhero in her own right. And, her, with her like social media savvy, like she built, yeah, and like building Moon Girl's brand. And so I sort of feel like something along the lines of like, I think it would probably be in Spanish, and I think it would probably be something that's like about a visionary. Yeah, I'll have to like let you guys fill in the blanks for what the actual name is, but that's the sentiment behind the name, I think.
Well, like a spin-off question of that would be, just in general, what are some stories that you would like to see from Casey in the future of the show?
Mm. I mean, I really like. It's funny. So I'm watching the show as it's coming out now too, and uh, it's interesting watching the things that like I wasn't. You read the script, but seeing it is something different. And I was like so blown away by the first episode where Lunella and the Beyonder, go travel in space and time, and I feel like I want I want to see what like Casey is like on like another planet.
Hey, I mean, you just gotta ask Lunella. Maybe she'll take you along.
I know, but she like disappeared into that portal without me, and it was like a whole thing. But next time.
Which Marvel superhero do you think Casey would want to meet the most?
This is not a good answer, but I was like, I feel like maybe like Thor, because I feel like I don't know, Casey would have some like good branding ideas with the hammer, and she's like, he's hot.
Hey, I mean, it's understandable.
Yeah.
I know. I think towards the end of the season you reference Hulk as well. So that would be a fun one.
Yeah. Yes, 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 totally.
Have you heard anything about a possible season three?
We can't. I no, we can't say anything. All I can say is that like I don't know if we will be lucky enough to. I hope we do. We are. I love doing the show. I think it's so special and unique, and has such powerful messages, and is also just like such a fun ride that I hope we get to keep doing it and making the show for a long, long time.
It's definitely a concept that lends itself to plenty of future seasons. So a
Yeah,
lot of more
yeah,
stories to tell. What would you
totally.
say to someone who hasn't seen the show, kind of like you say, previous me, to convince
Mm,
them to give it a shot?
I think that there's really nothing on TV like it. I think that it's like, despite, where how much you are into Marvel, into Marvel or animation or Disney or whatever, like, I think that this show sort of transcends the genre, anything that like, any sort of categories that it falls into. It's just like a really beautiful piece of art, and it's like funny, and the stories are great, and there's like and great messages, and just like each episode is such a fun ride. So I think if you haven't watched it, you're missing out.
I guess you really are, and I'm happy that I know that now.
Me too.
Um, pivoting real quick, I was a huge
Mm.
fan of Sneaky Pete back when it was on, which you played
Oh,
Carly
thanks.
on. Sadly, the show was
Mm.
canceled after its third season. I was wondering if you could share anything that maybe what season four might have looked like, or any stories that we didn't get to see.
Oh man. I don't, I don't know if we had talked about what, I don't remember if we talked about what possibly season four would have been, but anything you didn't get to see. I don't remember story wise, but I think like as a cast, we were all just so close, and like the family was like, we truly became like a family. And I think that it was really nice that that sort of got to play out in the third season. And I think that as like we as actors were getting closer and like getting deeper in the pockets of these characters, I think that there was I think we would have gotten some really beautiful and interesting like new family stuff as they moved into whatever the next chapter of this like heisty thing, or this thing with Pete was. And I guess also from there, like sort of knowing his identity, I guess that we would have had to reckon with that in a theoretical fourth season.
Yeah, I was pretty bummed when that one got canceled. I was like, ah,
Man, yeah, me too. It was such a special show to get to work on too, and yeah, I'm
well,
glad you're a fan.
I was. Maybe one day we'll get a revival, but I'll cross my fingers.
Mhm.
That and Moon
Oh,
Girl season three, four, five, and onward.
yes, totally.
Well, thank you again for talking with me about Moon Girl. Obviously, I enjoyed the show, and I look forward to seeing more. Hopefully, it's sooner rather than later.
Yes, yeah, thank you.